VBN, the Rich Video Blog Network, home of great personality profiles, weekly NFL predictions, top 10 list of everything and anything, and a whole lot more. VBN, the good place on the YouTube and the internet. Good morning, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Google+. This is Rich again, back for your first video blog subject of the day for Monday, October 3rd, 2016, around 7:01 in the morning in Billerica, Massachusetts. It's going to be a decent day out today, close to 70, maybe some sunny breaks. Only 20% chance of rain. Some news to report from the RVBN Newswire. It's Happy Germany United Day. And some history today because it's a slow news day for this morning. 65 years ago today, Bobby Thompson, outfielder of the New York Giants, hit one of the most famous home runs in baseball history, and the Giants win the pennant. And 56 years ago today, the classic TV sitcom, The Andy Griffith Show, makes its debut on CBS, had an 8-year run on CBS, and 55 years ago today, the classic TV sitcom, The Dick Van Dyke Show, made its debut on CBS, and it lasted 5 seasons, and 21 years ago today, O.J. Simpson was acquitted of the murder of Ron Goldman and Nicole Brown Simpson. As O.J. Simpson's late great lawyer Johnny Cochran would say, if the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. And that's about it on the news from the RVBN Newswire. I will be back in a flash. Sorry, I'm battling a little cold. I'm back! Did you miss me? My first video blog subject of the day is my personality profile. Today's personality profile is about actor, comedian Bob Newhart. Bob Newhart's been entertaining people for over 6 decades. He's one of the most funniest comics ever. He starred in some great classic television series. Bob was born and he grew up in the Chicago area. His real name is George Robert Newhart. He is of Irish and German and English descent. In his education, he went to parochial school, Catholic schools. And he went to Loyola University in Chicago, majoring in business. And he served as a 4-man he served in the Korean War as a personal manager. Then he went to law school. And he didn't finish his law degree because he had some trouble with an internship while trying to become a lawyer. Then he started to work as a clerk and an accountant for a few years. He did a lot of stuff with petty cash, and he also worked in an unemployment office, and he didn't really like those jobs. He wanted to do something better. Then in 1958, Bob got a kind of a break. He worked as a copywriter for Fred Amford, who was a producer of television shows and movies, and that's how he got into comedy. He started to listen to a lot of comedy writers and read a lot of comedy books. And he did some stand-up comedian stuff. He was known for his, deadpan approach to comedy. And he actually released a lot of comedy albums during the 1960s. His biggest one was The Button-Down Mind of Bob Newhart, and his album was the first comedy album ever to reach #1 in the top 100 billboards. That's so amazing. Then in the 1960s, Bob continued to release comedy albums, and they weren't as successful as the first one, but they've reached the Billboard top 100, mainly going in the top 10, which is pretty awesome. Bob even went into acting, and his first show was a variety show. It was called The Bob Newhart Show. It was on NBC. It lasted for one season in the 1961-1962 season. He won an Emmy and a Peabody Award for that show, which is pretty amazing. Then Bob continued to work on television in several variety shows. He appeared on the Carol Burnett Show, Ed Sullivan Show. He was a frequent guest in the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour, and he was on the Tonight Show many times. He even guest hosted the Tonight Show about 50 times during the time that Johnny Carson hosted it. And Bob really wanted to have his own television series. In 1972, MTM Productions gave Bob his own television show. It was called The Bob Newhart Show. And he played Dr. Bob Hartley, a psychologist from Chicago, and the series was on CBS. It ran for 6 years between 1972 and 1978. It got Bob a lot of Emmy nominations, and the cast of the Bob Newhart Show was great, including Suzanne Pleshette, Peter Bondra, Marsha Wallace, and Bill Daly. Hi, Bob! And that show got canceled in 1978. Bob continued to do some stand-up and guest star on a few television shows. In 1982, Bob returned to television. He on a new series called Newhart. He played Dick Loudon, an innkeeper in Vermont, and that show lasted 8 seasons. It also starred Mary Fran and Peter Scorsese and Julia Duffy and Tom Poston. It was a ratings hit for CBS. The ending of the show, the last episode, is Bob gets hit with a golf ball when inn is converted over to a big golf course, and then he wakes up. He's in the he's sleeping with Emily, his wife, and Bob says it was a dream that he was an innkeeper in Vermont, and there was guys named Larry and Darryl and his other brother Darryl, and his wife had big boobs and blonde. She probably had cute, nice and short legs by Lloyd's of London. And Emily says, "What do you mean blonde?" Good night, Emily. And Emily says he didn't want Bob have any Japanese food before going to bed. And Bob continued to be on television with some shows in the 90s, but they weren't as successful. Bob, which was a sitcom on CBS that lasted 1.5 years. It was not good at all. It was a ratings disaster. And then George and Leo, starring Judd Hirsch and Bob Newhart, which was a decent sitcom. It lasted 22 episodes, but it got canceled. And Bob continues to appear on television, guest star roles, and he continues to go out on the road a lot to do stand-up comedian, and his work's really plays good. He's won a lot of Lifetime Achievement Awards. He's one of the top like 10 comedians of all time. And Bob wrote a book in 2006, an autobiography, which was half like biography, half humor, and it was a New York Times bestseller. And Bob Newhart's probably a very, very talented and funny comedian and actor. And I love the Bob Newhart Show and Newhart. And that's about it on him. I will be back in a few minutes, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Google Plus with the second video blog of the day, which will be about the 2016 Major League Baseball postseason predictions. And the third and final video blog of the night, top 10 list with the top 10 greatest sports athletes in Oakland, California, the East Bay of the Bay Area. Like I always say, keep calm, everybody. I'm a Julie Wedding guy. Molly Roseblood of WCCO Accents Nice Legs. Elizabeth Hart, so stunning, she's the best. Amy Sweezy's awesome Amy. Linda Church of WPIX Channel 11 New York, such a rocking cougar. And she got the nicest legs in New York City. And Barbara Gibbs of ABC 11 sweet southern accent. And in the words of Vin Scully, it's time for Dodger baseball. Have a good day. See